Hello, everyone. Welcome to our December holiday episode of El Pueblo Unido. Thank you, everyone, for coming in and joining us. This episode will be a recap of our favorite moments, what we see in 2025, and what we are hoping for next year, 2026. But before we start, let's introduce each one of my favorite co-hosts and hopefully everyone in Georgia's favorite households. My name is Alberto Reyes. I have my Santa beer and followed by Marifer.
I'm also Santa's reindeer. So, hello everyone. Marifer Vizcaíno, Program Coordinator for Leadership Development at Galileo. And I'm happy to be here another year with y'all. I'll pass it on to Anna.
Hola, hola. I'm Anna. I am the newest host of the podcast, sporting this very lovely Christmas tree. And I'll pass it along to the other new host of the podcast, Frances Jimenez.
Hola, hola a todos. Gracias, Ana, for that wonderful introduction. Thank you all for listening to us this year. Yes, Ramses Jimenez here, host of La Pinche Politica. Don't say that word. Bad words is bad. But thank you all for listening and for tuning in.
Yeah.
On Santa's naughty list.
Do what?
He's on Santa's naughty list for a buzzword.
I lowered it so he couldn't hear it.
I do have a list, but if everyone wants to stay on the nice list, you gotta watch the episode. So stay informed. We're also gonna highlight our continue educating the community on know your rights, red cards, the same thing topics that have happened. So we'll start with Anna. Something that you felt impactful in 2025.
I think it was amazing just hearing all of our guests getting educated on so many topics that I certainly didn't know, from birthright citizenship to knowing your rights. I think it's really, really important to educate the community. So being able to bring those resources and at the same time also being educated ourselves, I think was something really impactful.
Certainly. And I think you've mentioned this before, Anna. This is something I appreciate, of course, is learning and how our guests are able to break down these very complex, convoluted, all-encompassing topics and into small parts that are digestible to all of us and that we can understand. And then our community members are able to understand as well. So just having experts that are able to speak to us lay people in simple terms.
Yeah, make the complicated topics sound easy. And we all learn at the same time. Right, Francis?
Yeah, exactly. As we go. But for
Basically, yeah, go ahead.
sorry, I thought we were going to mention our favorite ones.
Oh, yeah. I mean, one of your favorite, my personally favorite for me was when I interviewed Alex from Los Corridos, the run club in Atlanta. That's all the movement that is happening. Ramses.
Probably for me, episode 4 when we had 3 inspiring women with Gigi on there as well. And then of course, but I'm not trying to, loop in my segment, La Pinche Politica, but having all those great leaders and people that are in power now, talking to our community, showing that it's possible that we can take back leadership here in Georgia. Right?
Yeah, leadership. Great segue for the leadership section.
Yeah, I mean, we had some amazing guests in the Ponte las Pilas section, GIL alumni, for example, Emmanuel Ramirez, who was our latest guest, and he was also a speaker at the luncheon and at graduation. So, seeing his growth and seeing him go from starting the GIL program in February to seeing him now has been something really impactful, especially because he is part of my first GIL cohort as part of Galileo. So it truly meant a lot.
Yes. And talking about recent episode, as you mentioned, Anna, Kyle was one of our guests here. And as our listeners found out, Kyle was a host with us on this podcast, but he went to work with Common Cause, is still working for the community, is still advocating for all the work. And yeah, we wish him all the best. Once part of Galeo, always part of La Familia. So again, all the listeners wish Kyle thank you, Merry Christmas, and all the well wishes. And effort, because 2026 is gonna be a very busy year, which is something that we're also gonna be discussing in our next section.
And, Kyle did great work, but as he, moved on to continue his professional endeavors, Ramses and I began forming part of the podcast. I, took his place as one of the hosts of the program and joined Marifer with Ponte las Pilas, and Ramses started leading the Pinche Política sections. Yes.
You guys have been doing such a phenomenal job. I think I speak for Alberto and I when I say we're so happy to have you on the team. You brought so much to this podcast, to our communities, your knowledge and your expertise and your connections. So I'm happy that you guys joined us, and I'm looking forward to an even better 2026. And on that note, we will be back with El Pueblo Unido.
Yo siempre aviso a mis clientes que solamente andan o cargan con ellos un fotocopia de su pasaporte del país. Porque realmente tener el pasaporte físico en tu persona ayuda a ICE a hacer el expedited removal. Entonces, realmente lo que querés es no ayudar a ICE a hacer el expedited removal tan rápido para que tengas tiempo, o tu abogado tiene tiempo para arreglar alguna defensa.
And that plays into the keep silence. Don't say where you're from, right? Or where your country of origin.
Exacto. Deja tu abogado, habla con tu abogado, avisa a ICE que quieres hablar con tu abogado. Tenés el derecho de hablar con tu abogado y deja toda la plática a él o ella. Realmente lo que estoy viendo ahorita con ICE es que como no están haciendo casos a los prosecutorial discretion requests, tampoco están haciendo caso a cualquier email o correo o comunicación con los abogados. Sin un G28 es un formulario que da permiso a tu abogado a representarte, a pedir información y a platicar con ICE sobre su caso. Y lo que estoy viendo es muy difícil conseguir una firma de alguien que está detenido, porque puede ser detenido en Folkston, Georgia, lo cual es como 5 o 6 horas de Atlanta. Puede ser detenido y llevado a otro estado, puede ser también. Entonces, para conseguir una firma en este formulario después de ser detenido es difícil y tarda mucho tiempo también para conseguir este documento. Y sin este documento no puedo hablar sobre su caso con ICE. Entonces, siempre estoy avisando a mis clientes, a todos, que deberían tener este formulario imprimido en su casa, guardado en un lugar, o mejor todavía, tener una relación con un abogado de inmigración, porque cada vez que hablo con clientes, les hago firmar un G28 y lo dejo en mis archivos aquí en la oficina. Entonces, por cualquier cosa, cuando me hablan, me avisa la familia de ellos o algo, tengo este documento listo para empezar a defenderles.
Well, es por power and control. That's the main reason. Porque muchas veces esa persona sabe que la otra es vulnerable Otras razones porque le ama, porque piensa que ella es, y digo ella porque la mayoría de las víctimas es mujer, pero aquí quiero que todos los caballeros que estén escuchando, o cualquier persona que esté escuchando esto, sepa que no es solamente para mujeres, pero para no ir con para adelante y para atrás, ella, él o ellos, no se confundan. Entonces digo ella, pero con una persona que está en una situación que ama a la persona, que se siente amenazada de cierta forma, que siente miedo de llamar a las autoridades o de tomar un paso, que piensa que los niños van a ser más afectados si ella reporta al abusador. Entonces la persona lo sabe y gana ese poder y control sobre esa otra persona. Por supuesto que cuando la persona está en esa situación, muchas veces piensa por esa misma capacidad de manejar emocionalmente a la víctima o a la persona que lo está sufriendo, ese abusador trabaja en esa persona, en sus emociones para decirle, tú no estás haciendo esto bien, tú no eres capaz de hacerlo bien, sin mí no vas a sobrevivir, ¿quién te va a mirar si tienes tantos niños? O tú no provees para la casa, ¿qué vas a hacer sin mí? Entonces la persona lo va creyendo y por eso también se siente más débil y falta de autoestima para tomar cualquier decisión. Entonces, en esos momentos, esa persona sabe que es un blanco perfecto para ser target de este poder y control. Fueron servidos sobre violencia doméstica, familias en Georgia, por ejemplo, 104,626 adultos y niños víctimas de violencia doméstica. That's 100,426, if I read correctly. 16,254 víctimas fueron niños que fueron habían visto abuso, witnessing, o víctimas también parte del abuso, ¿no? Porque solamente ser un testigo, ver lo que está sucediendo en casa con mamá y papá o con mi familia, también me hace parte de ese abuso, porque emocionalmente es muy fuerte y para nuestros niños muchísimo, y a lo largo del tiempo cuando van creciendo, pues entonces esto repercute en muchas áreas de nuestra vida, si hemos visto eso en casa, ¿verdad? 87,232 crisis line calls received only in Georgia. 87,232. Safe shelter provided. So, refugio seguro que se pudo servir a víctimas fueron 7,343 victims. Y lamentablemente, tristemente, 163 victims lost their life. 163 personas murieron a causa de la violencia doméstica solo en Georgia en el 2024. Entonces, esos son números que tenemos que considerar y esos son los reportados de abuso, los que sabemos, las personas que llaman y toman la decisión de llamar, pero hay muchos que no llaman todavía, no reportan porque no saben que estamos aquí. So that's why it's very important to be here and spread the word, continue, and thank you for this. Thank you for opening these windows. Gracias por eso.
You know, I mean, one of the things is we have resiliency on the horizon. So that's a big thing, is we do need to prepare for potential environmental impacts, because we've got a hurricane season that's coming up, and I just read today that the potential for this being one of the bigger hurricane seasons, and it's about to start, and we do need to plan for that resiliency and put things in place so that we can be prepared, because that's exactly what you're talking about, is the difference between the northern part of the state, the coastal part of the state, all of our agriculture. That's the great diversity of this state, and that, frankly, that's what brings all of these very different economies to the state. That's why we have this film industry, because it's so much like the coast of LA. It's you know, we do have the coast, we have the mountains, we have the flat plains. You can do whatever you want here in Georgia. It looks like so many other places It's so diverse. It's wonderful, but we have to protect all of that. The other thing that I would say that's also on the horizon, and it's not exactly what you're asking, Kyle, but we do need to protect our resources here in terms of data centers and what that forecasting looks like, because that's a tremendous energy burden that has potential to really hurt a lot of people here, in terms of bills and how their energy, the energy usage of those data centers, but also water, like the water that's going to be used in all of that. If we don't plan properly for how these data centers are coming, and if we don't plan for how many are going to be coming. So I think that there's a lot of things that we need to look at in terms of our forecasting with Georgia, and what makes us valuable here, and what makes us so attractive to so many different businesses coming to Georgia.
They are really afraid of, their reflections on things. I remember one of my daughters, and it doesn't mean that they don't get in trouble, right? Because they do. People are not used to it, particularly, right? Like you guys maybe don't know me, like I'm 5 feet tall, right? Like I'm not a big person. So usually people don't expect that. And my daughters are like that. So I remember my daughter was like in elementary school, and people kept talking about like human, rights and human. And she was like, excuse me, why are we just talking about men? Like you say human, that has a word for men. Why aren't we talking about women? They're like, no, it's included. And she's like, why can't we just say men and women? Why does it have to have this word that is only men? And I'm like, oh my God, you don't have to like fight this one. You're like, 10 years old. Or, I made a joke one time, and it was a bad joke. Era una broma en español, me olvidé que estamos hablando en español. Y mi hija mayor me dijo, no deberías hacer esas bromas si tú eres amiga de la comunidad LGTBQ. Eso no está ok. Y como estaba en español, y a veces, tú sabes, el contexto es diferente. Yo le dije, sabes que tienes razón, pero, o sea, yo me sentí horrible. But, they are not afraid to hold us accountable since they were little. And I think that's something that we struggle with, because as Latinos, we're told, like, no le hables a tu mamá, que te tire la cacheta, whatever, la chancla, lo que sea. I'm not saying you have to be disrespectful, but, honestly, providing feedback and say, this actually doesn't sound like who you say you are, what say you do. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think particularly Latino moms, we're really hard on ourselves. I think we're always asking if we are doing enough, or, were we like too lenient, or were we too harsh? And I think that so many moms that I know, including myself, like we are really doing the best we can with the information, with the resources we have. And I think that recognizing that and recognizing that you cannot have or give it all at all times. You can't have it all. I'm a believer in that. But at different times with different people, right? And I think that we have just been sort of told and then assumed that, we just put so much pressure on ourselves. So I think that's something I wish that we were better with ourselves, like how we take care of other people, how we do it to ourselves. And it's really hard. I don't even know how to do it well, honestly. I feel guilty. I don't go to my kids, like parent conferences oftentimes because I'm working or doing this or doing that. And then I feel terrible. And I try to like compensate by like chaperoning a trip with like 12 people. It's like a bad decision, but it's out of guilt, it's not because I want to do it. So I think that would be something really important that I also need to learn, right? That we are really trying to do the best, and that we are really holding our communities together. Like Latino women are particularly huge decision makers in our community. When you look at who makes decisions on access to healthcare, when to see a doctor, when to spend the money to get medicine, it's Latinas. What type of clothes, where do we shop? What kind of food do we get to eat? What is the best that we can do with what we have? It's always Latinas. So I think that, look at the entrepreneurship, look at the number of people voting. It is always women. So just, loving ourselves a little more and loving each other more.
Todos que nacen aquí en los Estados Unidos siguen siendo ciudadanos americanos. Esa primera decisión de la Corte Suprema, solamente, y no para gastar mucho tiempo en eso, es solamente, era una decisión de clarificando, aunque en la opinión de muchos incorrectamente, pero clarificando la manera que se presentan estas demandas en la Corte Federal. Pero ya que salió esa decisión, no decidieron los méritos del caso, ¿verdad? No decidieron si era ilegal lo que está haciendo el presidente Trump con la acción ejecutiva. Solamente clarificó, o ellos dieron su opinión de cómo se deben de presentar estas demandas en la Corte Federal, y vimos que bien rápido alguien lo presentó de la manera correcta, en la opinión de la Corte Suprema, y ya está bloqueado. Ya firmó un juez federal, firmó la injunction, y ahora paró la acción ejecutiva con la esperanza, ¿verdad? No la esperanza, va a pasar, ¿verdad? Ese caso va a llegar de nuevo a la Corte Suprema, y cuando llega ahí van a decidir el caso, los méritos del caso. Y la mayoría de mis colegas y la mayoría de los expertos, yo creo que opinan que vamos a superar, que vamos a ganar el caso y vamos... y la única razón que escuches duda en mi voz, ¿verdad? Es porque vivimos en un tiempo tan raro, ¿verdad? Pero yo creo que si la Corte es bien claro que lo que dice ese 14th Amendment, la primera cláusula del 14th Amendment, y yo creo que vamos a ganar, y cualquier persona que sigue naciendo aquí en los Estados Unidos va a seguir siendo ciudadano americano. Vamos a seguir peleando, ¿verdad? Hemos decidido, ¿verdad? Yo creo que la mayoría de mis colegas, nosotros no somos solos, tenemos un grupo muy lindo de abogados aquí de inmigración que se apoya, ¿verdad? Aquí en el estado de Georgia, donde compartimos información, estamos analizando la información cuando llega, las cosas cambian de día a día, y estamos involucrados en la pelea y no vamos a parar, ¿verdad? Y no es una cuestión, ¿verdad? De clientes, de crecer compañías, de ganar plata, de dinero. La mayoría de nosotros, a lo menos en nuestra oficina, la mayoría de los abogados de mi oficina vienen del mundo de activistas, ¿verdad? Muchos trabajaron por organizaciones no lucrativas como ACLU, KIND y diferentes organizaciones así. Y por eso funcionamos de la manera que funcionamos, donde el sacrificio en vez en cuando es el crecimiento de la compañía, pero estamos ya preparados y listos por la lucha. La ventaja que nosotros tenemos, y suerte, porque es puro suerte, es que hemos llegado a este punto de crecimiento donde tenemos 5 abogados de inmigración con mucha experiencia para lo que viene. ¿Ok? Y la lucha sigue.
Mire, yo creo que la pregunta es sumamente importante, especialmente como tú lo mencionabas al principio también. ¿Qué se puede hacer en esta situación de tanto sufrimiento, de tanto acoso, de tantos ataques a la comunidad afuera, y ya cuando estás adentro, es totalmente deshumanizado, ¿verdad? Y las personas muchas veces están pensando, bueno, ¿qué va a pasar conmigo? Firmo la deportación, pero soy venezolano, ¿qué tal si me mandan a CICAT en El Salvador? Todas estas cosas, ¿verdad? Que las personas están viviendo cuando están en el centro de detención. Y a veces uno puede pensar, bueno, no se puede hacer nada, estamos peleando contra un monstruo, un sistema totalmente gigantesco. Y es cierto, el sistema está creado de tal forma en la que nos paraliza, ¿verdad? Y nos hacen sentir que nada se puede hacer. Pero sí se puede hacer mucho, se puede estar presente con la gente. Y te voy a dar un ejemplo de algo muy sencillo. Tiene que ver con una persona que nosotros visitamos De hecho, nos llamó hace 2 semanas y dijo, bueno, mi esposo está detenido, si lo pueden visitar, pero me gustaría también ir a visitarlo, pero no manejo, si alguien me puede dar un ride. Entonces yo fui, la recogí a su casa y hablamos por el camino de su situación, de su esposo, de lo que estaba pasando. Y ella me dijo algo muy simple, pero también muy profundo. Ya cuando estábamos de regreso en Atlanta, y me dice, yo estaba muy preocupada por mi esposo, no salía, él era la persona que hacíamos todo juntos, trabajamos juntos, hacíamos todo juntos, y él estaba pasando por la detención, él estaba pasando por mucha depresión también, no sabemos qué va a pasar con el caso, pero verlo me motivó, me llenó de paz y me ayudó, y yo sé que la situación no está resuelta, que todavía sigue, que está luchando y todavía no sabemos qué va a pasar, pero simplemente verlo y este gesto de poder darme un ride y llevarlo fue muy importante. Él ya dijo, in a way, I was basically like him, incarcerated. I stopped doing everything. I stopped going out. I started doing everything because he was the person that was, doing everything. But just the simple fact, the simple gesture of offering someone a ride can make a difference. And I know that doesn't change the system, and I know that doesn't change the reality of this horrible system, but it's a powerful way to be present to people. And if we do that, if we do that over and over and continue to be present to people, I think that has, that gives me hope too, that we can, do better. And then all the things, the collective actions, whether it's visiting people, whether it's donating, something so we can continue our work, whether it's writing a letter to someone, whether it's connecting their members of Congress about the conditions at Stewart, whether it's volunteering, whether it's all those things are the things that are going to help us to get through the system. I think it's easy to despair in this moment because we are just, it's less than a year in this administration. But it is true, and I think it's not just a slogan out there or just a saying, that el pueblo salva al pueblo, and I think that it's true for the work that we do, the work that you all do as well.
El Refugio es una organización, para los que no están muy enterados, que apoya a las familias que están directamente impactadas por la detención. Trabajamos con personas que están detenidas en el centro de detención de Stewart. Y nuestra organización inició este trabajo hace 15 años. Empezamos en el 2010 visitando a personas en el centro de detención, y luego nos dimos cuenta de las necesidades de las personas detenidas, pero también de las familias que estaban viajando para ver a sus seres queridos. Podíamos conversar con las familias en la sala de espera, y conocimos muchas familias que venían desde Norte Carolina, que habían manejado 8, 10 horas, a veces más, que habían dormido en el carro, que habían dormido en el estacionamiento de la gasolinera en Lumpkin, donde está el centro de detención. Entonces, eso abrió como la oportunidad para pensar qué se puede hacer, qué podemos hacer para apoyar a las familias impactadas por la detención. Y así es como nació la idea de tener una casa de hospedaje, una casa de hospitalidad, donde podamos ofrecer ese alojamiento a las familias, no solamente a las que vienen de lejos, pero en general todas las familias que vienen a visitar a sus seres queridos. Y rentamos una pequeña casa en Lumpkin, a 2 millas, 1 milla del centro de detención, y empezaron las familias a conocer un poco más sobre el trabajo que hacíamos. En la sala de espera les comentábamos sobre el trabajo del refugio, y bueno, muchas familias empezaron a llegar a la casa y empezaron a correr la voz entre sus familiares, entre sus amigos, entre la gente detenida, y así inició este trabajo muy, muy orgánico de grassroots work that we started in 2010, and we've been doing that for 15 years.
Presidents of the United States are not permitted to do away with the U.S. Constitution. That is the law of the land. So because birthright citizenship is enshrined in the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, President Trump cannot just sign an executive order and do away with it. But, I've heard, so another way to think about it, I've heard people refer to executive orders as a wish list or a letter to Santa. I've heard that description as well. And I think it's a helpful description because it really we, the people, need to understand that he does not have that unilateral authority, that there are channels if you want to amend the Constitution, but executive orders is not that channel. So it is not a proper channel. The reason why the executive order is not in effect, it was signed in January 20th, is that organizations and community members responded by legal action. So lawsuits were filed, and these lawsuits were, the plaintiffs in these lawsuits are nonprofit organizations with members who would be affected by this executive order. There are many different lawsuits that was initiated after the executive order was signed. But I will mention the one that I know best, which is the one that Asian Law Caucus is a part of, because when this executive order was signed, we were at the ready, and we filed a lawsuit with our partners, ACLU, Immigration Rights Project, ACLU Maine, ACLU New Hampshire, the Legal Defense Fund, State Democracy Defenders. We all joined together to challenge this executive order. And in effect, because of the litigation, there are at this point multiple national injunctions saying that this administration cannot implement the executive order for the time being. When we're talking about a president who doesn't respect the US Constitution, this is not just a fight in the courtrooms. I think that there is room and a role for all of us, and a necessity for all of us to get involved. So whether that's educating family members, taking to the streets as Chicagoans did this past weekend, really, we have some Georgia partners who are talking to the school board, to their local school board, to say, hey, this issue, birthright citizenship, affects students. It affects young people. We want to pass a resolution to affirm your commitment to birthright citizenship. So I just want to emphasize that there is an important role that we all have to play here. In terms of, lastly, I want to make sure I speak to people who are directly affected. If you have any questions about birthright citizenship and how you may be affected, Asian Law Caucus is available. We have a webpage that I'll share with you where we're providing up-to-date information about this issue, about the litigation. On that same webpage, there's also instructions on how you can get in direct contact with us, and we are happy to talk with folks.
I think that, whether you're looking at Georgia, Virginia, New Jersey, I think what does feel like a precursor or something that is, kind of foreshadows what might happen in 2026 is that, people are really concerned about affordability, whether it's here in Georgia or other parts of the country. Those were the primary messages of those candidates and those PSC races, and clearly a core part of the messages that we saw in campaigns in Virginia and New Jersey. And I think if the state of our economy, the state of affordability continues as it has been so far, those will still be very relevant themes in the next cycle. People are motivated by those kitchen table issues, and it's important to speak to the issues that are front of mind, for the voters. If you aren't registered to vote and are eligible to register, make sure you are registered to vote. Stay up to date on your voter status. We know that in the past year, the Secretary of State's office has removed a number of people, hundreds of thousands of people from the voter rolls, people who are eligible voters but maybe haven't participated in recent cycles. So even if you aren't sure, check your status and check your registration and make sure it's up to date, so you can protect yourself and be in the best position to be able to exercise your right to vote in future cycles. And stay informed. I know there's so much news out there, and nobody can consume all of the news and be aware of all of the things going on. But we have to do our best to try and stay informed, so we can be informed when we go to the ballot box, and just remain engaged in our political process, and encourage your family members, your community members, to stay informed and to stay involved and to not give up hope, because there are. We saw, huge change in the Public Service Commission races with, candidates from, the Democratic side who won with like over 60% of the vote, and flipping 2 of those seats. But if you also look at, a lot of those municipal races, right? There were, not just, changes with, a candidate like Anthony Pacheco winning in Conyers, but we also, you also see like a lot of races getting decided by just a handful of votes. I think it was the city of Jefferson, that mayoral race got decided by 1 vote, which is crazy. And that is a perfect example of how much power you have as a voter. And so none of us can lose sight of that. And we just, have to exercise that right. And we're back with El Pueblo Unido. We're on the section Latinos en Acción. And to welcome everyone, we have one of my favorite Latinos, my great dear friend and co-worker, Ramses Jimenez. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Awesome. Thank you for the introduction, Alberto. That was amazing. Hola a todos. Soy Ramses Jimenez. Soy un organizador comunitario para Galeo, específicamente en DeKalb y Fulton.
Oh, that's amazing. So, as you said, DeKalb and Fulton. So, I know Galeo, other organizations, they've been hosting what we like to call charlas comunitarias. Tell us a little bit about what's going on those events.
So, we've seen how things have changed in the past weeks, and we've also seen the resilience from our community wanting to be informed and know their rights. So we decided to host these sessions wherever people will have us. And we've done around 10 charlas comunitarias, ranging for almost 600 people total. And we go from like 10 people to 300 people wherever they'll have us. And it's been in person, virtual, and in radio, wherever the people want us, we'll be there. This last weekend, past 2 weekends, we've been at churches, neighborhoods, community centers where the trailer parks are at. And wherever people have us, we'll be there. And we've also been dropping off resourceful materials like Know Your Rights cards to local businesses, health clinics, even high schools, because a lot of kids are actually a little scared right now. So wherever people need us, we're there.
Yeah, that's absolutely. And with that, talking about resources, we're going to show our listeners a little bit of what Galeo has been doing as well. We have a QR code on screen. For those that are watching the recording, they can scan it or they can go to Galeo website. We have it both in English and Spanish, fully accessible. And then we're going to see what it actually looks once the community goes there. So as you can see, Ramses, we have different information there, links and everything. Have you had in contact with a community that we share those resources and then appreciate it? Tell me how was that when we had to talk about what we have in Galeo?
Yes, so as I was telling you, the need has been exaggerated ever since the new administration came in. So we've had our community resources page updated to have everything that you might need in case the bad thing happens. And knowing your rights, knowing what you can do is so essential right now, because it might not protect you in the moment, but it'll protect you in the long run. And if you are informed, you're able to make decisions quickly. So this resource page has a wide range of things. We go from list of Latin American consulates, because that's your right. Whenever you get detained, you can contact your Latin American consulate so they can help you out. Know your rights. What do you do if ICE comes in? Conozca y defienda sus derechos. And we also have kits for businesses that may want to have set up on their door or something like that. That way they can also protect their patrons. And if you scroll down more, we actually have immigration lawyers that we trust as well, as well as other like low-cost immigration counseling organizations, because right now, there are actually a lot of people that are afraid, and they have a lot of anxiety, especially kids. Kids that come home and they don't know whether or not their parents will be there. We have entire families crying together because they don't know what's going to happen. So we have abundance of resources for the community so that they can get the help that they need, whether or not you might be legal or not, or even if you have a business, you can look through that.
So you'll be able to walk through our beautiful teaching gardens. You'll get information and can touch and feel pollinator garden plants. We have a new 2 blackberry trellises that we're pretty proud of. Our beekeeper from the Atlanta Bee Company will be on site, and so we'll have observation hives. We will have different agencies that we have not had out before that we're excited to have on site. We'll have DeKalb Library, the Georgia Arborist Association. We'll have a face painter that's she's great. We have some small food vendors. We also, you guys, Galea will be out there as well. You can tour the greenhouse. Just bring a blanket if you want to bring a picnic and come hang out. We have some events, and if people go around and fill all the little forms out, then you'll be able to take home some plants. We're going to highlight some flowers this year and some couple vegetables and things like that. It's just a way to kind of reconnect and learn about what you can do to help Mother Earth, and also just come enjoy the youth farm. It's a really beautiful place. We're not too far from the Gwinnett County line, and we're located in Lithonia, Georgia. And again, everything is free to get in. There's no charges for that. Just if you want to get, face paint and stuff like that, there is a small fee with the vendor.
Sometimes I really don't know how I do it. I know that I work best under adrenaline and a good caffeine rush. But overall, I will say that when I can take my kids to these events, it's a plus because they learn so much from community cleanups. After the first community cleanup that I took my son in, when I kid you not, I saw him picking up some trash. So I was like, wow, he's soaking this in. And they're just soaking in the civic engagement part. And I would say it's been a blessing being able to balance being a mom and do the civic engagement work together.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing to hear. And then for another moms that can relate, I'm sure that they will be able to relate, but what are some of the challenges?
Okay, y'all know, I'm pretty sure this is no secret, but childcare. If we got childcare, we're all going to be outside pretty much. But childcare is the main thing. I know there's a lot of resources during the day, but my main challenge is because a lot of the things that I go to are in the evening time, and daycares usually stop around 5 or 6. So I rely on family with that, and thankfully I have them to support me in those times.
La educación para mí es muy importante. Yo me crié en lo que conocemos en México como áreas de Infonavit o áreas pobres. En Puerto Rico llamamos caserío. Y yo estoy aquí parada hoy en día por la gracia de Dios, y número 2, porque hubieron muchos programas durante mi trayectoria hasta ahorita que me ayudaron a mí en diferentes facetas. Entonces, nosotros tenemos aquí un programa de After School con la organización que se llama SEGUA, AmeriCorps, y hace 3 años hacemos tutoring virtual lunes a jueves, y los sábados se reúnen acá. Ayudamos a los niños con tareas, con diferentes cosas, y hacemos diferentes actividades para promover y fomentar que sigan en la escuela, premiarlos. Bueno, estaba en mi corazón a tener una librería para los libros. Los libros son muy importantes. Yo me acuerdo cuando fui mamá soltera que le leía mucho a mis niños. Entonces, y es muy importante que lean porque el conocimiento nadie te lo puede robar. knowledge is power, el conocimiento es poder. Entonces, cuando Ramses, de tu organización, vino a decirme de que podemos hacer una librería chiquita, que podemos traer el programa de las mariposas, eso fue como música a mis oídos. So, establecimos un little library gracias a Embark y gracias a Monarchs in Georgia, Cross Georgia y Galeo, obviamente. Entonces, ahora tenemos una librería. Primero plantamos flores que atraen la mariposa. Y bueno, el sábado pasado, con un calor exquisito, el grupo de Galeo se fajó y hicimos la librería, como pueden ver ahí. Entonces, ahora el siguiente paso es pintarlo dentro de la comunidad. Pero se va a estar compartiendo libros para que los niños no tengan que salir afuera. Nosotros ya trabajamos con DeKalb County School, con Angélica, cada vez que hacemos eventos, que hemos hecho diferentes tipos de eventos para la comunidad, que están abiertos no solamente para nuestros residentes, sino el que pueda participar en la área cercana. Este complex está en medio de otros complejos y muchas personas caminan. Y como siempre, hay muchas personas que quizás viven aquí, pero tienen familias alrededor, cerquita, entonces vienen hasta acá para nuestros programas de salud, comida, etcétera. Entonces, esta casita va a tener libros que pueden intercambiar, libros en español y en inglés, y información acerca de votar, información acerca de Galeo.
Well, I have been dancing since I was 3 years old, and it was because of my Fulbright scholarship that I was able to come to the US. And it opened a new perspective for me in the world of dance, because being able to not only dance by myself, but also teach to the community what I do was super, super important for me. So I have been able to teach at universities. I have been able to touch communities in Atlanta. And I think one of the most remarkable experiences that I've had is how they respond to what Afro-Colombians do, and to find that more and more colleagues, especially from my country and my community, are also here trying to do the work to empower communities, to empower young population, especially now that they are seeing that references have been made for them to follow a path of upliftment and joy. My original project is called My Black Body Speaks. My Black Body also is like upliftment and communicate. So my work is basically around how you can explore the possibilities of your bodies. And even though my work is centered in the Black communities, it influences the whole diaspora and the whole communities of Latinos, especially here in Georgia. So I have been able to also connect with, as you say, the Latinx Alliance. I also know the work of Galeo, and it's been so inspiring how these populations have made me realize that what we are doing is important, but also I'm not the only one. So we're doing it as a collective. Enjoying in those leaders who are trying to make a change has been definitely transforming for my teaching experience.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I've been born and raised in Marietta, so I've been in Georgia my whole life. Mis padres son de San Luis, and I think one of the biggest parts that helped me kind of grow roots in Marietta mostly was they have a restaurant, and from there I'd kind of always see them engage with people in the community. I mean, of course, try to sell them food, but they really built great bonds. And even now to this day, because we still have the restaurant locally, it kind of helped establish, people build a routine out of, going to these same places, seeing some of the same faces. And that kind of helped, inspire me and push me to try to branch out to find my own sense of community in the city. So again, I was mostly just, in Marietta most of my life. So getting a little older, I got a little closer to the city and try to find, some community and just others who kind of, shared some ideas and somewhere I can kind of feel a sense of like belonging. And from there, I was able to see and meet lots of people, great organizations. Something that I felt was sort of missing in it was finding somewhere where, Latinos are kind of like outside, like doing things outside, namely running. And that's kind of where Los Corridos was kind of came out of. We're actually about to celebrate 2 years in October, which is kind of crazy. And from there, again, that's where we had started building out a sense of community based around wellness and movement. Again, I just admired so many different types of organizations and friends who are organizers themselves and kind of create these hubs for writers, artists, cinematographers. And I wanted to build that kind of sense of community through movement.
And from there, it then just kind of grew into, okay, now that, there's community, how do we kind of add action to it? How can we give back to the community? And thankfully with Los Corridos, we've been able to do some really great initiatives like that. Yeah, definitely. So we just locked down on the location. We actually have a residency that we work with, Recuerdos Cafe, shout out Ivan, at El Ponce. So this is going to be, the 2-year anniversary is going to be October 18th. It's going to be a Saturday at 9, and we're going to have, again, a little run at the start, but afterwards, this is kind of exclusive because I haven't really shared it a lot, but we're going to have like a sort of loteria game night, but in the morning kind of thing. And another great way that I wanted to add a level of giving back to the game night, no va a ser por dinero, not technically at least, but the idea is going to be, you can come and join us, play some games, and por cada carta, for every card that you're going to use, you can either pay with like a mile. So, and it's an honor system, we don't tally them up, but kind of, you pay with being able to go out and run or walk a mile. Or you can donate $5 to different types of organizations in Atlanta that support trans community immigrants, and just, other organizations that are doing great work in the community. We're going to share more details pretty soon on it, but you can find everything usually on our Instagram at los_corridos. Usually you can find access to different types of races we have. All of our events, we always post them every month. And any questions, usually we're pretty open to just DM or commenting anything just to learn more.
Okay, well, my name is Bianca Castañeda, and I'm in Union City, Georgia, and I have a little free library. It's called Colibri Reads, COLIBRI, and we offer free books in English and Spanish, mainly, but any language is welcome. We accept donations, and we're always looking for sponsors. My drive really is, I'm seeing a big need in the community to connect and to be seen, and it's been a real calling for me because it's just hard to see what everybody is going through in nuestra comunidad. And I see it from, the children to the teenagers to the adults and to the elder generations. And what I'm doing to help foster a safe place is doing like bilingual book events that are free. So there's no like formalities. Everybody could just come over, feel at home, and, just read a book, have a conversation, just be together.
Where would you like to see Colibri going forward? More events, expanding outside of your area?
Yes. So we expanded out a little bit. Like I'm in Union City. The next town over is Fairburn. And we want to expand even more. We just received a sponsorship with a little free pantry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So just last night I received an email and they're going to sponsor us. So there will also be food available for our community because it's a very big need right now. And, you need a full tummy, a full heart in order to, be able to enjoy our book or concentrate. And, we want to help in all the community needs, not just books.
Okay. So again, Bianca, thank you so much for sharing. Now, if the community would like to stay in touch with you, what are your social medias? If somebody would like to volunteer, how can they reach out to you?
Of course, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok for now, and it's at Colibri Reads on all of the social media. And also, we also have a program called Libros a tu Puerta that you could access in the bio in Instagram. And it's for anybody that is homebound that cannot go to the little free library. So they're able to get, maybe a meal or a book, something that they really need. They're able to communicate with us through there. We accept volunteers. Send me a message and, we'll contact you.
we are under attack because we're powerful. We're under attack because we're incredible people. We're resilient. English isn't the first language that was colonized that we've learned. Spanish, we're multilingual folks, right? Where our ancestors are indigenous folks who have walked all over this continent for millennia. And so I think we need to remember that, right? We are powerful. And so we need to stick together, make sure we collaborate where we can, rest, and just remember that like all the advancements that we've made over the last few decades, those aren't lost. And Georgia is also a particular state that's unlike any others. So I think being innovative here, I think there's real hope. And honestly, like I'm inspired by all the amazing new leaders at Galileo. I'm also really inspired by like your graphics. Oh my goodness. Like back in the day, we were out there like doing graphics on like PowerPoints. So kudos to your comms team, but thank you for having me. So much chingones, and let's act like it. I always tell folks like the very first thing is that like we should all remember what baddies we all are. I'm not sure if I could say the other word, but if, you know, I'm Mexican, so I would have said another word. But we are, like, we're incredible people. We're immigrants, children of immigrants. We're multicultural folks, right? We've survived a lot. We've accomplished a lot just to be here and be able to survive. So I think one, remembering what a baddie you are, how incredible you are, what your potential is.
Say what you gotta say. Say the word you wanted to say.
Yes. So for sure, like so much chingones. Like, you know, this isn't the first time that we've been under an administration that's very hostile with baseless claims against immigrants, right? We are incredible people. And we have incredible folks to learn from. Georgia, Atlanta has a rich, beautiful Black civil rights legacy that all of us have been able to build on thanks to the incredible leaders that have been through even worse, right? So one is that. Two, I would say, though, these are times where the part of the strategy, right, sometimes is to create chaos and to overwhelm. And so we really have to take a step back and remember what is in our sphere of control and what isn't, right? So try to prioritize what you can control, what you can do. And then the last thing, which is why I think programs like GIL are so important.
I don't even think that's everyone, but that
no, I think there was a lot of people missing. I think this second one, everyone like mostly showed up, and I was like, wow, there's a lot of people here.
Yeah, I think we're missing like 4 or 5 people, but that is a big cohort. That is from our opening reception. Oh, that's you.
Yeah, that's me.
And we had a great time with Wings and subs, and thank you to the City of Forest Park for hosting us. And there we have our CEO, Jerry Gonzalez, giving you some words of advice regarding GIL, Galileo, and your journey, your leadership journey.
Yeah, we had a lot of great speakers too, which I loved listening to their, you know, journeys and stuff and how Gil helped them. So I feel like it's not only a program just to learn things, but you also make great connections, you network, and you find out about other organizations that don't exist. I mean, even Galileo itself, I didn't know about this organization until I started canvassing with them. But that's really what led me to go to Gil. And I honestly, it's the best thing I've done. Like, I feel like it's already like helped me a lot with even my public speaking. We did public speaking this last week, and people were killing it with the speeches. So it's a really good program.
Thank you. I was actually going to ask, like, you started off as a canvasser, correct? And then
I started as a canvasser. Yeah.
And I mean, somebody who's backstage right now said he may have been the reason you joined GIL. Is that true?
I don't know about that. I know. Yeah, so I actually learned about Galileo through Carla. She works for Galileo, and I would see her post things about Galileo all the time, but I honestly didn't know what they stood for, what kind of work they were doing. But once I started canvassing with them, I learned a lot about what they were doing, the information that they were giving people. Even me, myself, I didn't know like my voting rights, like things like resources and stuff. And I learned a lot, you know, just with canvassing. There's a lot of people that don't know that this information exists. So it's great that Galileo has those programs, information sessions, and even like the hiking program that he just said. I've been to the cleanups. They're so much fun. Like you meet people, you're out there, you know, making the environment better, and we're representing Latinos. Like we're out there cleaning and stuff, you know, for the environment. So that's also a good thing.
Yeah, so Gigi made mention of a couple of things. So number one, as immigrants and as mothers, we're sort of working against a system that is not designed for us and that oftentimes feels not interested in being and making changes to support us, right? So you look at access to healthcare, which is one of the biggest issues that I saw while working at the Latin American Association, while working at DFACS. There's that disparity where immigrants and women of color don't get to have the same access. And you look at it from even just pregnancy, access to maternal health care is very different for our communities than it is for, let's say, you know, Caucasian or white people and other ethnicities. And that has a big impact on the health overall, right? So if you're not able to, if you don't have a health insurance or you have limited access to health care, you can, if a child gets sick, you're not going to take them to a doctor because then you're going to wonder, do I have the money to pay for this? And that can kind of snowball into bigger issues. So we have that. Then we have work policies that are not working for us, jobs that are not flexible. I work with many women who were working many hours to earn low wages. They couldn't take time off if their child was sick. If they took time off, they were penalized for something like that, right? So now, I know I'm privileged of working at a company where I earn vacation time, where I have sick time, and I see the difference. I can take off saying, hey, my child is not feeling well, I'm gonna take time off with them. As immigrants, you're navigating the educational system. I remember when we came to the US, my mom and my dad didn't know what it was to navigate the system. My mom was very educated in Colombia, but this was completely different, a whole different language, a whole different setting. You know, what is high school? How do you prepare for college? SATs and applications for college, scholarships and all of that. So I had to learn how to do that myself with, you know, help of my teachers. What are the other challenges? Of course, as Gigi mentioned, the poverty part of it. When you are just making enough to survive, it doesn't allow you to have the flexibility to invest in your children's even extracurricular activities. Like I can when I first had my kids and I started looking at different activities, yo me quedé sorprendida con el costo de ponerlas en algún deporte o cualquier actividad y decía yo, si para mí es difícil pagar esto, yo no me puedo imaginar cómo es para otras familias que no tienen dinero extra.
So first and foremost, you either have to be a member of Galileo or you have to be a graduate of the Leadership Institute cohorts. So again, there's over 900 of us currently. So we are looking for more folks to get involved. Ponte las pilas, come join us. Let's get involved. We have a lot of work to do. It's really easy to get involved. You know that there's a lot of different benefits. You get discounts for different events. You get the newsletter. You get to be involved in different meetings as well. So again, I really am enjoying my time with the group, and I look to stay involved and get more engaged. So I mean, there is an application process. There is a small fee that comes with it. Again, so you just fill out your application, mail it in, or get with one of the Galileo staff members, and they'll help you facilitate the process. But once you become a supporter, you know, anybody that wants to support the mission of Galileo, you know, to get more Latinos civically engaged, or you know, want to support leadership in the Latino community, you are more than welcome. We want you to be involved. So individuals, businesses, organizations, anybody could be a member of Galileo. And from there, if you have specific certain individuals that you want to be a part of the alumni, the leadership council, then, or even the Institute leadership cohorts, again, we would love to have you. So again, just you know, call to action. Please join us and join the fight.
Well, like any alumni network or leadership council like this one, it empowers young people to keep on going. my favorite part is, of course, the alumni mixer, which is a new thing that gets people from different cohorts to get together. That has been my favorite for as long as it's existed. I think I've gone to each one and continue to go to more. And that's something that I get to plan along with everyone at Galileo as a GLC board member. But there's also the Leyendas essay contest, which helps children, young adults, and professionals to dive deeper into Latino history and help tell a story, and maybe an opportunity that they wouldn't have had otherwise, where they get scholarship money out of it. I mean, it's not nothing. It might be $200, $500, but it's something that really helps drive their education forward.
En el 2022 tuve la oportunidad de asistir a mi primera cumbre de liderazgo, la cual me pareció bien organizada, con buenos exponentes, pero en mi opinión no hubo sesiones en español. Y yo, como tengo limitaciones a este idioma, entonces me fue imposible poder entender y comprender, pues las sesiones. Eso fue el 2022. En el 2023 no pude asistir por causas de fuerza mayor, aunque me hubiera encantado. Pero regresé el 2024. El 2024 no me defraudaron, ¿eh? Fue de verdad súper bien organizada. Todas las sesiones en español. Pude entender completamente todo lo que yo quería, captar. Entonces, muchas felicidades. Para mí fue estupenda, de gran aprendizaje.
Nosotros siempre escuchamos al pueblo.
Gracias, María. Y me alegra que pudimos traer estas sesiones en español para que personas como usted entiendan y se mantengan informadas. Y mencionó que el año pasado fue su cumbre favorita, o por lo menos vio una mejoría porque ya hubo esa oportunidad de aprender en español. En general, ¿cuál ha sido su sesión favorita? ¿Y me puede decir un poco por qué?
Bueno, sí, fueron dos exponentes los que me impactaron y me llenaron de información. O sea, me fue muy bien. Entonces, la primera fue la abogada Pía. La abogada Pía nos habló acerca de la importancia de tener una carta poder y la importancia también de tener un testamento bien organizado. Porque fíjense que yo no sabía, dentro de mi ignorancia, yo no sabía que si mueres intestado en este país, pues a tus pocos o muchos bienes que tengas se va al gobierno, o sea, dejas desprotegidos a tus seres queridos, por los que más has trabajado para obtener esos bienes. Entonces, pues yo pude obtener esa información de ella, esa información muy abundante y muy sustantiva para mí. Y otra cosa fue el señor, se me olvidó el nombre de esta persona, pero fue el señor Rafael de la organización Fact Chequeado. Sí, de él también aprendí que nos habló acerca de la desinformación en las redes sociales. ¿Cuál es la importancia de no creer todo lo que vemos en las redes sociales? Porque lejos de informarte, te desinforman. Entonces nosotros como hispanos, pues cualquier cosita que sale de migración, de inmigración, de lo que sea, entonces, ya estamos nerviosos. ¿Cómo va a pasar esto? ¿Qué tenemos que hacer para protegernos? ¿Cómo es posible? Entonces él nos dijo que podíamos ir a visitar redes pues confiables y visitar a personas que sean bien informadas, pues, para que nosotros no nos llevemos estos sustos.
So fraternities and sororities exist as school organizations on college campuses. Some of them have connotations with socializing, fellowship, and we do as well. But we focus a lot on, like I mentioned, empowering our community service, social services, meeting the community where they are and being an aid to them. It's kind of at the essence of what Lambda Theta Phi is and how it got started back in the 70s in New Jersey was exactly that, creating a space for Latinos to come, to congregate, to have fellowship in spaces where they probably were a minority. And so when you come into a space and you do feel a little bit of alone, it's nice to come and see a group of young men that are active on campus. And it's exactly the experience that I had some 45 years later when I came to the University of Georgia, when I saw again a group of young men very involved on their campus, very involved in their community, venturing out of their bubble and supporting those around them.
I'd absolutely agree. And something cool kind of about our organizations is that they were created in parallel, but completely separate. And so we were both founded in 1975 in Union, New Jersey at Keene University, where there was a growing Latino population. But they found out that the Latino population doesn't really have deep roots in the United States to really help with all the difficulties that you have in entering higher education as first-generation students. And so these organizations help to kind of get that root structure that usually would be provided by family or family connections that can read resumes and help you apply for financial aid and that kind of thing. And so as each generation of Latino is brought up in these organizations, they can help the future generations continue to empower themselves and try out new things and get even more education, master's degrees, doctorate degrees. It's incredibly empowering to me, not only to know that that's a resource that I had in college, but it's a resource that I have now too, because both of our organizations are lifetime memberships, no matter if you're active in the sorority or not.
So my name is Emmanuel Ramirez. I am a first-gen student currently studying at Dalton State College, specifically computer science, but with a focus on intersections between technology and the Latino community as a whole. I do a lot of things in general, from volunteering to simply being involved in community organizations, really pushing the community forward and making things more accessible for the future leaders of tomorrow.
That sounds amazing. And thank you for putting GIL and Galeo within your radar of all the things that you do. And I mentioned Galeo too because for those of you of our listeners who didn't make it to the Hispanic Heritage Luncheon, you are a guest speaker, which you can see some pictures of in the screen in a few seconds. But could you talk a little bit about how you heard about GIL and what made you join? Because I know, again, you spoke about this at the Hispanic Heritage Luncheon, but for those who did not attend, can you talk a little bit about that?
No, definitely. So I first heard about GIL through LinkedIn, actually, but my connections with Galeo go a little bit back, actually, back to my high school. And so senior year, I had already heard about Galeo a little bit, but I just needed to push. And so I attended one of the leadership summits that you guys were hosting over the summer before I even went off to Dalton State College. And so that really motivated me. And thanks to that, I got connected with a lot of amazing individuals who then pushed GIL all over social media. And I just knew that was my call. And so last year I had applied, and before I knew it, I was speaking up there. So it was truly a full round circle. Well, GIL has definitely helped me in so many ways. And I feel like over this past year, I've definitely have learned a lot. Over the last 2 years, I had to learn a lot of things on my own, but GIL really gave me the structure that I needed in order to really take what I do to the next level in terms of accessibility, in terms of reaching out to our community. And I can recall one of those things simply being like door knocking, for example. I didn't realize how important that was. I didn't realize how much of a difference it can make. And so, I mean, just getting out there and simply pushing people to register to vote, for example, that has been part of this journey of being an active member of society and really just pushing for a better future for all of us. And so really GIL has just given me that structure, the resources and the tools to recognize my own abilities and recognize that it doesn't take much to make a difference. I think if there's one thing that I've taken from GIL is that I've met an abundance of people from all walks of life. And so I think often when we think of leadership or the ability of being a leader, we think of needing a assortment of resources right at our disposal. But I can attest to this firsthand. Pre-GIL, I had nothing, and I still figured out a way to advocate for my community. And then post-GIL, I learned so much more about how to be so much more effective with everything that I do, with the intention behind every action. And so when I speak to people about GIL, I tell them to recognize that you don't need much. All you need is a reasonable means of transportation. Get down there, learn, be ready to learn, if anything. Meet new people and recognize that you can be a leader too. I never thought I could. I really never did. But over the past few years, I found myself in these opportunities, in these positions to recognize that anybody can be a leader. All it takes is simply saying go.
Because understanding those needs, and as a former educator, I launched a program called Read to Lead, where I go into the schools on a monthly basis and I read a book that's age appropriate based on the grade level, and it's related to local government. My hope is that these small steps that policymakers don't understand, small things like accessibility to these meetings so we can have an increased public engagement. Well, the Read to Lead program, because many schools have stripped the curriculum of civics. Well, if you don't know about civics, you can't change anything, right? So these readings that I do on a monthly basis is intentional to try to increase civic engagement. So I extended that program into the student citizen recognition program, where 6 students are recognized by the elected officials and the public at our council meeting, which is televised now. And we get them into local newspapers. We get our business leaders involved. They provide complimentary passes. But the reason is not just to showcase these amazing future leaders. It's also to get the families involved, to let them see what we're doing and build a curiosity. And hopefully they'll be part of the decision making. Too many decisions are being made without the voice of the people. And I'm here to change that. And I'm confident we can do that together as a community and with the efforts of Galileo.
Actually, it happened in, I believe, New Hampshire. We've seen some of the lower courts certifying class action lawsuits. And, as Gio said, at least one issued a nationwide injunction for children covered under those suits. And it temporarily blocks the executive order everywhere, which is what we were all hoping for. Many professionals were a little scared that many people were going to be left in limbo, especially without, knowing what their status might be. And then eventually a lot of them were scared that it might be up to states. So there might be some states where there were people that had citizenship, and there were other states where they wouldn't. We'll be back to like the slave era type of thing, where there were some states that had slaves and there were others that were free, right? But the good thing is that the courts have been going in our favor, at least for now. And eventually, like Gio said, it'll eventually go to the Supreme Court. I don't know, have you seen some of that kind of stuff with the class action lawsuits, how, people have to get together and file a lawsuit together if you're affected. It kind of happened here too in Georgia. I don't know if you know a little bit about that.
No, tell me more.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I was about to say, everything. So some of the Georgia colleges were going through the same thing this year, trying to get funding for their colleges because it was being cut, federal grants. HBCUs were being cut. So some of Georgia colleges filed for that lawsuit to get that money back, but there were others that were more leaning towards the administration, being in their good terms, that did not join that lawsuit. So because of that, they were not able to get the same money that those other colleges were able to get. So like that, if you don't end up joining that lawsuit, then you're left out in the dust. And the other conference was the NELO conference, which was for the National Association of Latino Elected and Appointed Officials, which was a very big event. And Jerry, you were actually there, right? Right?
Yeah, it was a great conference. It's the first time that NALEO brought their annual conference to Atlanta. And we had about 800 people here from all over the country. NALEO is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization that works to increase the Latino participation in the American political process. It focuses on citizenship, electoral involvement, and also participation in the census, things that are very important to us as Galeo too. We partner with NALEO all the time, but also NALEO works with Latino elected officials around the country, working and focusing on policy to make sure that Latino elected officials can become more effective leaders in their own communities. So we had many exceptional leaders from all over the country at this conference, including we had lots of Georgia Latino elected and local leaders here. So it was a really great conference.
By the pictures, it looks like an amazing event. Could you tell us a little more about how the NALEO conference was? I actually saw you were a speaker, right?
Yeah, it was. It was really a great honor to be one of the speakers to kick off the event and welcome everybody to Atlanta, to Georgia. I kicked it off alongside with Hector Gutierrez, City Council member in Forest Park, representing Galeo and Galeo Impact Fund. He's a member of our board for the Galeo Impact Fund. But we also had State Senator Jason Esteves provide welcoming remarks to all those that were in attendance. So we had policymakers there. We had power brokers from across the country, lots of elected officials from Texas, from California, from Arizona, Illinois, but also from places like Vermont and Wyoming, places that you wouldn't think of for Latino elected officials, but Latino elected officials are everywhere. So Georgia provided a great welcome for them, and they will likely be back for some other conferences in the future, hopefully.
Awesome. How does it feel to make history? You're the first Latino to be elected in Conyers.
Yeah, I think it feels good. It feels necessary because we need a more representative democracy. And I think throughout the years, I've been cultivating a lot of my leadership skills. And honestly, I wasn't thinking about running for office. I'm somebody who likes to be more on the background and doing organizing, working with the community. But I felt like there was this calling to do this and to be able to make history. And over 170 years, we haven't had any Latino even run for office, and not to mention getting elected for next year. I think it's an honor, and it speaks to the need for more representation in the local level, especially. And in Conyers, we have in the county in Rockdale, we have a population that's over 10% Latino, and there's so many businesses and communities that have been there 20, 30, 40 years. So I think it's definitely it was time to get somebody on the council who's going to work hard for the Latinos in Conyers.
Porque yo creo que por primera vez la comunidad latina aquí en Conyers va a ser escuchada, va a ser representada. Y aunque no estoy representando todas partes de Conyers, porque pues vivo dentro de la ciudad, para mí es muy importante escuchar lo que está pasando. Por ejemplo, hay una vecindad que se llama Lakeview Estate y es la vecindad más grande de latinos, y para mí creo que es muy importante estar ahí, estar presente, escuchar y tratar de trabajar con el condado, con la ciudad, o conectarlos con las personas o la autoridad apropiada para que también ellos puedan sentirse inspirados y sentirse empoderados para hacer el cambio.
And we are back with El Pueblo Unido. We hope that you enjoyed watching a recap of the past year. It's always weird personally to see myself in videos. And I mentioned that because I don't know if you guys know that you can go back and see our past podcast episodes, and you can go to our social media and see little snippets of the interviews that we do. So every time I go back and see that, I still feel so weird to hear myself and see myself. But it also is a reminder, especially this recap, of how far we've come this year in terms of all the information that we've been able to put out there. And there's so much more information that we still need to spread. So I think, this is a great opportunity to reiterate that we will be back next year. So yeah.
Yeah, and we make it very easy for the community to share those resources. As you mentioned, Anna, the little snippets, we have them on Facebook, Instagram. If you want to see the whole episode, we have it on YouTube. So you can share it with all your family. You can make a Christmas tradition where you sit in the living room and watch a marathon of El Pueblo Unido. Tag us if you're going to do that. A little bit of recalentado. Marifer, what would you like to see on the Pueblo Unido marathon?
I want to go back to that video clip with Rosario where she is telling us to take a breather, enjoy the things that make us happy, that bring joy to our lives, especially during these hectic moments, when we're stressed, when we're overworked, when we feel persecuted. Just remember how, I think, and let me see if I remember correctly, but we are our ancestors' greatest dreams, their biggest hopes, and if they could do it, so can we. But yeah, shout out to Rosario for that.
Yes. Big motivation. And for the younger generation as well, Ramses, I know that you've been in La Pinche Politica. I know sometimes a lot of young people might tell you that like, I'm a little bit hesitant, but, tell us how you see it.
Bueno, ya hemos visto que aunque no seamos políticos, como latinos este año la política nos sigue a la casa, a tu teléfono, right? And mucha de nuestra comunidad vive con miedo. Y también hemos visto a lot of disinformation, whether it's on purpose or by mistake, right? Because many of our community is fearful. Pero lo que hemos visto, lo padre de este año, at least for Pueblo Unido, es de que hemos visto que quedándote informado te da poder, right? Because if you stay informed, you're able to break down all this disinformation. And many of our community, especially the young people, are the main ones that will be disseminating information in their homes. Like especially, I'm sure that these conversations went on in Thanksgiving. So now we have Navidad coming up. So esto nos va a seguir, right? And the cool thing that I like about, that we've been doing this year is we break down politics in a way that our community can connect and understand. And that's probably one of been my favorite parts of this year as well.
Yeah, and for updates on 2026, our first episode will be aired on January 13 at noon. So put that on the calendar. Again, we'll be coming live on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. So there's no excuses that, no los encontré, or, like, I don't have Facebook, I don't have Instagram, like that. Las tías always find a source for them. But as I said, it has to be correct information.
And don't wait until January 13th to follow us. You can follow us right now on social media.
Yeah, post your recalentado pictures while listening to us. I'm just thinking about food. I think this is the third time that I've mentioned recalentado, but it's tradition within our family.
It's recalentado season right now.
Yes.
Still from Thanksgiving too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what recalentado is. What is recalentado? Well, taking the time to educate the people like me who don't know. What is recalentado?
Well, basically eating the fruit leftover, yeah.
Oh, now all three of us are talking at the same time, like top 2026. Let us know, listeners, let us know your favorite recalentado.
Is this a Mexican term?
Yeah.
I mean, I know what is like recalentar la comida. I just thought it was like a specific dish called recalentado. Was like, ¿qué es esto? ¿Qué?
Yeah, I know. Anything.
Where do I find it? How do I make it?
Gotta stay culturally relevant.
Write it down on your Latino notes.
Latino.
The word of the day is recalentado. But we just want to thank you all for continuing to support us, you continue to watch and listen to our podcast every month, and we do this for you guys. We bring the information for all of you out there to stay informed. And, thank you for allowing us to be part of your family, of your communities. And, to Marifer and Alberto, thank you for welcoming me into the podcast. I have loved thank you. I have loved hosting this podcast with you guys, and I am very hopeful to continue doing so next year.
Yeah, we wish everyone with their families Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad, Felices Fiestas.
Happy New Year. Don't forget about New Year, it's important.
Y todo lo demás.
Y para los que lo celebran, feliz Día de Reyes.
There we go. Yeah.
Ok, y recuerden que el pueblo unido
jamás será vencido.
Nos vemos enero 2026.
Bye, everyone.
Felices fiestas.
Bye.